internal rotation lift-offs from a hip 90-90 position. So internal rotation is our back leg. Now, when we perform our passive range lift-offs, we are trying to be closer towards that end range. We don't want to be at end range because we do need to be able to lift off a little bit. But if you want to work quite hard on these, you only want about an inch lift off at the most. If you're leaning too far forward or too far away from that hip and your lift off looks a bit like this, we're not really going to get much out of it, okay? So the point of lift offs is that we build up that strength in the active range that we have. So you want to try and bring your bum cheek back towards the floor a little bit. And when you do your lift offs, you want to make sure that you're feeling it deep in the hip capsule here. So if you're feeling it more kind of superficial muscles here on the top, then you're probably leaning too far away where this feels a little bit too easy. So you want to just sit back a little bit, and then you want to be able to squeeze into that lift off. And a good hip internal rotation lift off shouldn't be like this, because actually I'm overcompensating by leaning forward. Whereas if I want to just keep this in the hip, I'm going to keep my bum cheek back towards the floor and I'm going to squeeze into that lift off. And now I'm feeling it deep hip capsule and not so much superficial here. So I'm going to squeeze it up and then slowly lower. So squeeze and lower, squeeze and lower. Now, if you're kind of here towards end range and you can't get any lift off, feel free to lean forward or over slightly to the side, but just be in a position where it's quite hard to lift it off. It's quite a struggle to lift, but you can actually get some form of lift off there without rolling the pelvis forward like this. Okay, we want to be able to have no movement and that just come through the hip capsule. So remember, although it's trying to lift the foot up off the floor, we're trying to get that rotation happening through the hip here. Okay, so we want that femur to kind of rotate in that capsule. Okay, so that's your passive range lift off the hip internal rotation.